It's time for Let's Get Real with your host from Bob Richards and Associates, Bob Richards.
Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Michael. Thank you for asking. It's good to be with you again today.
It is so good to see you. And you know what? You may have noticed I'm wearing the exact same shirt as the last one. The last podcast. The one we did about custom homes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, am I.
You are.
Uh-huh. Ding, ding.
I've been sleeping under the table here.
Oh. Well, at least I went home.
You got to go home. Yeah. Because my washer's broken, so there was no point in going home.
When that happens. Yeah.
Just wear the same shirt. Hey, I understand we've got a great show today, as we promote on the last one,
Yes,
about
sir.
disclosures.
Disclosures. So we're calling this one Disclose, Disclose, Disclose. Yes.
Why do we even need to do that? And what is a disclosure? And I understand this is a hot topic.
It really
nowadays.
is right now. It is the number one reason for lawsuits in real estate is the lack of or incorrect or dishonest disclosing of a particular property, what it has, what it doesn't have. It can be a real battle between a buyer and a seller. Maybe the agents are involved. Certainly real estate attorneys are involved. Then you may have a judge and it just turns into, like I say, a hot mess. And it can be very expensive, especially obviously when you get attorneys involved. The time, the effort, the emotional, there's so much that is taxing on all parties during a dispute such as this.
Well, you know, real estate attorneys need to make a living and pay their bills too. So maybe we should just get attorneys involved in everything because they're so delightful to work with.
Oh, just a treasure. Yes.
That we should give them more money.
We should. We should not.
So how what are some of these lawsuits that are being filed between buyers and sellers? What are some things that are not being disclosed?
Great question. And this is a loaded question that you've just given me. But again, let's get real about reality with what's happening in any market throughout the country, because we do this worldwide.
Yeah.
And so disclosures worldwide are different from varying areas as to what's required to disclose, what forms need to be provided, what forms could be provided, and what forms that maybe clients don't want to be provided. That's where it gets into problems. So there's a number of disclosures that are available for buyers to fill out, but mostly to be on the reception end of things, and certainly a lot of things in which the seller needs to fill out and then do so with the mentality, disclose, disclose, disclose. So if it's just something that is just so minor that you repaired, let's say the disposal went out 4 months ago, there's a disclosure question about that allows you to answer truthfully, what happened to your garbage disposal? And discuss that briefly with a couple of sentences and then move on. So it doesn't have to be, well, we changed the light bulb in the dining room. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm talking about. Something that is more structural, mechanical, plumbing related, electrical related, roof, foundation, walls. I mean, it goes into a lot of things, but not the ticky-tacks that we put a little touch-up paint here, a little caulk down here in the corner. That's not really what they're wanting to have disclosed. It's more of a larger picture of the actual house itself, stem to stern.
Okay, so plumbing, electrical, all that stuff that you just mentioned.
Yes.
So what about, I did a room addition and I really didn't get a permit to do the room addition. Do I really need to disclose that? I mean, it looks good and the plumbing works, electrical works,
toilets flush, whatever.
Toilets flush. Do I really need to disclose that?
This may be an obvious answer, Michael, but you would be surprised at people that say, I'm not going to disclose this.
No
I'm
way.
like, what? Does this room not exist? And well, yeah, it's here, but we didn't get a permit. I said, why didn't you get a permit? What was wrong with you doing it right? And like, we just didn't. And I'm just like, guys, this is not good because that square footage actually cannot be used in the sale of the house. So if 200 square foot room and it's a 1,700 square foot home, guess what? It's still a 1,700 square foot home.
Right.
Can't add it on.
So I've heard in instances like that, that they'll actually make them tear the structure down, rip out the wall, go get the permit, rebuild it with the permit, and then they can sell it as a 1,900 square foot
Yes.
home. And that's something that I, as a buyer, could actually demand of the seller. Well, you guys go get the permit, rebuild the room, and I'll come back and then I'll pay the same price.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Michael, that's a let's get real kind of a thing too. And you would think, well, no, you'd never have anybody.
That
tell
never
you,
happens.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
No.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, they have to rip, take it down, or again, just make it into a large storage room or some other room that doesn't have any square footage value. Again, and anything they put into making that room, they get nada, zero, zilch.
Really?
Back.
They're done.
They're done.
That's it.
Yeah. Building permit, you do it up front, you do things that are right. Yeah, you pay a building permit fee, but good gracious, how much more are you going to get back? Because now you actually have a structure that can be added to value of the house.
So let's say I'm buying this house and they didn't disclose to me that the add-on does not have a building permit. And for some reason, I didn't even think to ask. And since the realtor wasn't even aware of it either and didn't think to ask, and they didn't get a home inspector to go out there, and I just go, this is pretty cool. I like I love this extra room. We can put the kids out here. And the house closes. And I find out later that this addition was built without a permit. Do I have any legal recourse?
You honestly do. Now there would be a judge or mediation that would say, Michael, did you get an appraisal? Well, no, I paid cash.
I paid cash.
Yeah. So the appraisal would show whether or not that addition had a permit or not, because that's filed with the city building department. So they include that if they have a matching building permit for what they're going to do. So the appraiser would have record of that. The realtor would have record of that. So yeah, there's an issue there. And then the seller obviously not disclosing that, there's an issue there. So is the builder liable on that? No, not really, because they did what the buyer or the homeowner asked them to do. Should they have said, hey, I only do this if we get a building permit? Okay, that's raising the bar. That's where the standard really should be. Anything below that is substandard. Do it right or don't do it all. You and I are both like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely has recourse of, again, non-disclosure and affecting value and square footage that was counted that really shouldn't have been counted. And then the end result is that you've now overpaid for a home. You've closed on it. It's yours. And it's less expensive than what you just paid for it the day before.
Yeah, that's horrible. And to make matters worse, I want to add on to the room add-on that was already done.
Oh, wow.
I want to make it bigger because I need to put a ping pong table in there.
Uh-huh.
So I go out and get a building permit to add on to the add-on. And the building inspector guy goes, well, this actually isn't even here.
Yeah.
So now what happens?
Oh my goodness, that turns into a real hot mess, and it sounds like that it's, oh, that never happens. It does.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what part of the country, what part of southern Utah, what part of the world. It does. That addition becomes basically a detached addition to the house, and the room that was built is a breezeway. I mean, it's connecting from the house over to your addition that you got the building permit for. But other than that, it has to be considered some sort of an open breezeway of some sort in order to allow you to do what you want to do with the building permit.
Wow.
But they may ask, you know what, got to come down and then start all over again. And now, cha-ching, I mean, Michael, that would just be, I won't say disastrous, but it certainly can be disastrous because it changes your whole outlook of the home and the love of the house.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is such a chore. This is not something I'd expected. This is not something I wanted. This is not, and it just becomes burdensome.
So the city could actually come to me, the new buyer, and require that I tear down the existing structure, the room add-on, and then rebuild it with a permit.
Yeah.
They could make me do that.
They could.
Which is going to cost me more money. So I'm out of pocket more money. I'm out of equity because I've overpaid for this place
Right.
that's 200 square feet smaller than
Good
what it was
point.
sold. The attorneys are going to love me because now they can put their kids through college
Yeah.
based upon
Yeah,
just based upon this lawsuit.
exactly. Boise State now turned into Yale
Yes.
for those kids.
So is that something that is there a title insurance policy that would cover me as the buyer, or any other insurance policy I could buy to protect me against non-disclosure or failure to disclose, even if it was unintentional?
Yeah, very, very good question. So in the state of Utah, title insurance is provided by the seller to the buyer. And that policy, it's called an owner's policy. So the owner's is giving an insurance to the buyer that states, when you close on this house, you will be in first position with nothing else behind you as being liability, unless you have a mortgage. So the mortgage is recorded first, and anything past that, like a mechanic's lien or a judgment lien or something like that, that is recorded in second, third, fourth position if there is one. So the insurance is the fact that the title company record the documents that need to be recorded to say that Michael and Linda Mollenauer are in first place, they have no mortgage, or Zions Bank is in first position, or Chase or whoever, and that's the only position that they're in, and there's no other parties that are behind that. The only other parties that would be in there would be your taxes, because those are due every year, and so that automatically becomes a debt each and every year that we have to pay. So those are really the basic two things. That's it on home, and there's no other recourse with a title insurance policy. The home warranty covers mechanical, water heater, electrician, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, appliances, doorbell, garage door. Those are things that are repairable that already exist with the house. But anything value-wise, nothing with the home warranty. It literally has to become where buyer and agent are on one side of the table with attorney, same on the other side with the other party on their table. Let's talk. Let's see if we can figure out something. If things just don't work out, then off to the judge we go.
Wow. There's so many pitfalls that even I didn't realize, that I know a lot of people don't even think about. So I'm going to ask you another one.
Sure.
Disclosure.
You bet.
This is a real one. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yes.
That's right. You might know one of these people. He might even be wearing a funny shirt.
Oh, wow.
But the names are changed
Wow, okay.
to protect the innocent. So let's say this person gets this new place. It's a beautiful condo. It's near the beach. It's fabulous. Everybody likes it. These people, whose names shall remain anonymous, walking around the neighborhood, talking to the neighbors. Oh, welcome to the neighborhood. It's so good to see you. Where did you live? Oh, we got the so-and-so place. Oh, that is a delightful place. Isn't that the place where the guy's mom died in the master bedroom? What? The mom died in the master bedroom? Did they not disclose that to you? What happens in a situation like that? I know that's a real deal.
It is. So in some states, murder or suicide or death in the home, natural or otherwise, can be disclosed. Now, can is different than doesn't have to or is mandatory that it is. Utah has a little bit different take on things. If the person passes away in the house, it's recommended that is shared on the disclosure. If there's been a murder in the house, it must be disclosed. If by chance there's a suicide that is in the home, that is also recommended. But as you said, Michael, it's going to come out. If the seller doesn't say it, well, the neighbor's going to say, well, did you know exactly like the example that you got, that you given? And that could definitely be why was I not told?
Yeah. I know that the The guy was distressed because his wife was extremely distressed.
Without a doubt.
And many phone calls ensued thereafter. So it was an interesting situation. And I know it varies from state to state, so you really never know. So let me ask you another situation.
Sure, you bet.
Disclosure, a real life situation. Once again, names undisclosed to protect the innocent.
Got it.
This person also may have a nice shirt.
Maybe.
What happens if there's a fire in the house? A substantial portion of the place burns down, and they go in and they rebuilt it and all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering, is it like a Carfax? You know, when you get in a car accident, you've got to disclose if it's a serious accident to the next buyer. You know, was the frame bent? What was done to this thing? And that affects the value. Does that same scenario hold true with a home that may have had fire damage or flood damage or earthquake or something like that? Does that need to be disclosed as well?
Great question. And again, Michael, let's get real with things. That's why I say disclose. So rather than just saying disclose everybody, and here's this disclosure form, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you need to fill this out before we list your home and get it on market. It's 16 pages, asks everything about the house, inside, outside, etc. And I'll pick it up tomorrow. Well, the seller needs to sit down and really think, since we've lived here, what has happened with our house? We need to disclose the fact that Johnny put the marbles down the toilet and clogged the toilet, and we had an overflow in the toilet in the bathroom, and that's something that we need to share. We also need to let the buyer know that our storage shed that was built by our friend's neighbor's dog's husband fell over, and we tried to rebuild it the best we could. Those kind of things are very important. Okay, here's the disclose of the disclose. In answer to your question, yes, absolutely, everything needs to be disclosed. I would get bids from the restoration company or the construction company that rebuilt it. I would also get a report of the fire report from the fire department, also from the city as to, again, was that permitted to have it being rebuilt? Who did the work? Were they licensed, insured? Did they have to go through any special tear out or tear down or removal before they were able to kind of put the house together again? So it didn't feel like that it was this space that burned, and then there's the rest of the house. It has to blend and match and fit and be level with those kind of things. So all of those things are to the seller saying to the buyer, disclose, rather than, well, it wasn't bad. It was just we lost a couple of bikes and half my car, but nothing too bad. You know, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah.
It's not, again, make sure that everything is on the table. It does you no good to keep things in a drawer or not disclosed or not shared, because it will catch up to you.
Yeah, it's best just to be a friend. You know, Bob, there are so many pitfalls in this disclosure thing we got going on. I'm thinking, if it's okay with you, we might want to pick up part 2 of this discussion for the next podcast.
I'd love that.
Is that cool with you?
Yes, because there is definitely a lot more that we need to talk about.
I have more disclosure stories. I'm not even going to tell it to you right now. But it has to do with a condo with adjoining walls. One got flooded, the other didn't, but they got rid of the black mold on one, but not on the, and then a new buyer comes in, and let's just say that disclosure.
Yeah.
That's a good one for next. So let's pick up part 2.
Coming up. Part two coming up. Yes.
Yeah, let's do part 2 on the next one. In the meantime, I know that you have another delightfully lovely home to share with us.
I do. You know, I'm so fortunate with the people that I get a chance to work with. It is absolutely awesome to have that opportunity.
So look at that. This
is out in Sun River. And in one of the previous disclosure or podcasts that we had talked about, it was, okay, what's the custom base plan? And what did these people spend in upgrades? Now, it's beautifully, we've staged it. You've got wood tile. It's not that laminate stuff. Bigger windows, bigger rooms. They stretched it into a larger size from their base plan. But these folks did spend $105,000 more than the base plan to get what they did here. So awesome appliances, the countertops, the built-ins in this office here. The desk is built in. There's 2 separate chairs. You've got the bookcases on both sides. You've got a phenomenal great room that opens up to the dining and the kitchen. So if you're talking about so-and-so or this game or this play or this show, everybody's involved. They're not like, what was they talking about? No, it's all there. Great master bedroom suite. It's got another bedroom, and both have their own bathrooms. It's just a delightful home, and Sunriver has so much to offer. I mean, if you're bored out there, it's your own fault. I mean, pickleball and tennis and clubhouse and ballroom and lawn bowling and yes, lawn bowling. I said.
Yes, lawn bowling, yes. Is
So,
that a retirement community?
it is. Yeah, it's a 55 and older. And so one party needs to be at least 55 years of age. There are some exceptions, and I can talk to people about that if they wanted to know because of age discrimination. But anyway, yes, it's a very large community and is 55 and older.
Don't they have a golf course out there, too?
Oh, you know what? They do.
They do.
Yeah. Now, that's not part of your association dues, but my golly, it's just right out the back door. And so it's a great course, too.
It's beautiful. And they've got, there's a new a restaurant out there called Gurus.
Gurus. Uh-huh.
I know that because my band has played there.
Yes, I've heard.
Now, Sunriver's a cool place. Yeah, I like that. So as soon as I turn 155,
155.
I'm going to run on out there. Bob,
Great
we had a
place.
good day today, didn't we?
did. Absolutely.
So tell us how people can get a hold of you.
Thanks, Michael. So I'm at Berkshire Hathaway, downtown St. George. 435-703 Utah is my cell phone number. Text me, call me. My email address is bob@byutah.com.
Okay.
So I can be easily found, easily talked to, and glad to answer any question that people have. I will not allow anybody to buy something or get involved in something that is going to be a disaster later.
That's true. Oh, tell one more time. What's the price on the place in Sunriver?
$545 is the price on that one there.
Okay. That's dinner time.
It really is.
$545.
That's
That's easy to remember.
You betcha. Somewhere.
Bob, thank you so much. We'll see you guys again next time with another episode of Let's Get Real with your friend and mine, Mr. Bob Richards.
Thank you.
This has been Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards & Associates. For more information, buyutah.com. We invite you to return again for another edition of Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards & Associates. This has been a production of One to One Network.